It's the business of life, the business of love, the business of health, the business of wealth. It's the business of principle, the business of media, the business of conscious, the black business, the business of life, the business of the business of the business of wealth. It's the business of principle, the business of media, the business of conscious, the black business network. Business of love, the business of
peace and power, family. My name is Minister Dennis Winkler, also known as the psychosocial spiritual entrepreneur, and you are rocking with the Conscious Black Business Network, where everything is business. Don't let anybody fool you, family. Everything is business, and not until we treat everything as this business we will not get out this plight that we find ourselves in. So, family, this platform is to strive. Well, what we do is try to strive to inspire, the aspirant, the entrepreneur, the business owner, those who are in the struggle for the liberation of our people, those who just want some more information to go to greater heights. Family, that's what our platform is for. Family, we have a powerful show. If you want to get in on this conversation, family, go ahead. You might see the number right behind us if you're watching this via YouTube stream. You can get in by, anywhere you're listening right now. You can call us up and listen in, or state a question or comment by calling 641-715-3570, and then you can hit the extension 618-185. Again, extension 618-185. And if you want to state a question or comment, just push *6 then 1. You can find that also at the bottom of the YouTube stream, or also on the page that you're tuning in on. We have the number where you can get it. Just look on the page wherever you're broadcasting from, and you can listen in on. You can actually get the number there. So, family, we have a powerful show. And again, before we go further on, I want to basically share with you some ways you can follow us. You can follow us by tunein.com, going into tunein.com and looking up Conscious Black Business Network. You can join our Facebook group by going to Conscious Black Business Network Facebook, which is exclusive group on Facebook. Also, you can like our fan page on Facebook. You can follow me personally, Dennis Asar Winkler, on Facebook, Dennis Asar Winkler on Twitter, Dennis Asar Winkler on YouTube, and that all those different ways. So nonetheless, family, we want to go ahead and give respect to our ancestors, those who have lived, suffered, bled, and died for us, but most of all, those who lived for us, to the creative essence of the universe, to those, again, who've come before us. And family, I also give all due respect to the righteous teachers that fight against the system of oppression in their daily walks and endeavors. So family, it's going to be a powerful show. I greet you by saying peace and power in the word in Kiswahili, which says Imani na nguvu, family. And, as Dr. Maat, I'm going to go ahead and put this one out here because Dr. Maat, when she came on the last time, she so much enjoyed this. So I want to say, we're going to go ahead and share with you, family, that what consciousness means to us when we come on these airways, because there's a lot of confusion what consciousness is. I don't want you to get confused. I don't want any misinterpretations. I don't want to leave it to your imagination. And we know them things can run wild. So nonetheless, we're going to say Dr. Amos Wilson in Blueprint for Black Power, which was written in 1998, page 91, says that consciousness refers to a level of physiological and psychological arousal which permits the individual to be conscious or aware of his or her internal and external environment, and facilitates his or her ability to regulate his or her cognitive and behavioral capabilities toward achieving goals he or she finds desirable. Listen, family. Those goals that you find desirable, family, it's not enough to know a thing. You got to do a thing. That's right. I told a brother yesterday, if you talking about spirituality, I don't know what the hell you talking. Excuse me, let me calm down. I think Sister Ayamo got me all pumped up in the studio today. You dig what I'm saying? I think what's happening, I'm trying to figure all this technology. I haven't calmed down yet. I've been having some technical issues all day, but nonetheless, what I want to say, he going to tell me, I say, look, brother, spirituality is, look, I'm going to say the litmus test is, and spirituality is that what you manifest in this physical. Come on. You understand? Because other than that, it doesn't mean anything from an African-centered point of view. Spirituality or your spirit, the spirit has no place unless you have the material. It's no just the spirit and not the physical. The physical is flesh and evil, none of that type of thing. So what we're saying is, look, your spirit can be judged by the fruits of your tree. Come on. So Dr. Amos Wilson goes further to say is that consciousness is a type of active intelligence. You got what I'm saying? Active, family. No sitting around. I'm not getting with the whole thing. Conscious means awareness, all that type of thing. I'm saying, look, it's more than what you know, is what you do with what you know. So, Brother Sankofa, what's going on, baby brother?
Peace and power, peace and power, peace and power. I'm pumped up just like you are, Minister Asar, the psychosocial, spiritual entrepreneur that you are. First, let me calm myself down a tad bit because we got a long, wonderful show, and I want to pace myself because we're going to have some fun. We're going to get it in. But nevertheless, just as you stated, giving all reverence and credence to our beloved ancestors, the heroes and sheroes that suffered, bled, died, and lived for us so we can be able to build and expound upon their legacy. The Harriet Tubmans of the world, the Marcus Garveys of the world, the Malcolm X's, and so on and so forth. But nevertheless, all those tuning in, local, near, and far, you are in for a treat. That's right. You are in for a treat. You're going to have another yet empowering show, an illuminating show, and a mind-opening show. Just pay attention and, take notes because we're going to get it in very, very heavy real soon. But before we press on with the business at hand, just a couple of things to remind the family, all those tuning in about. And first and foremost, there will be an event taking place Sunday, August 7th. That's right. Sunday, August 7th. Don't forget it, family. Put it in your phones, put it in your schedules, put it in your calendars, because the Temple of New African Thought, also known as TNAT for short, will be having its open house. That's right. We'll be having our open house, and the location will be 3221 Bel Air Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21213. And it'll be taking place from the time of 12 o'clock p.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. And it's a free event, so there's no excuses. Come on out, fellowship with us, good people, positive vibes, Black people. So when you come out, you might say, well, what am I going to get on this day? What am I going to experience? Well, I got you. You're going to get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You're going to, be able to learn about what we do at the Temple of New African Thought. We'll have an African marketplace, a cultural marketplace with vendors ready to provide you products. We're going to have martial arts demonstrations. Come through and even get a hot dog, get some chips. We'll have poetry, hip hop, spoken word, and live performances. It's going to be all of that and much more, family. So you definitely don't want to miss. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your loved ones. It's going down Sunday, August 7th from 12 o'clock noon to 6 o'clock p.m., family. So definitely come on out, all right? Come on out and see what the Temple of New African Thought has to offer the community. Furthermore, we have to offer the Black community, our people. And with that being said, each and every Sunday you can come out to 3221 Bel Air Road. We have our Sunday fellowships. We do our martial arts. We have our Spirit of Kemet Internal Martial Art Academy, which provides Tai Chi, provides martial art training, so we can protect ourselves in this midst of war, chaos, and confusion and systematic oppression. We also, do a lot of other things. We have African-centered counseling services. We do manhood training. We do many things for the upliftment of our community and for the upliftment of our people. So with that being said, let's press on. And we have Dr. Maat, who has come to join us yet once again. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I got my Maat shirt on. You know what I'm saying? I tried to, match the energy she was coming with. But nevertheless, for those who did not
that's not my yacht. I just didn't want the
Haru.
people, Oya travels with scholars, and I see some already got their hand up waiting for the call already.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you called me on that. I got so excited. I lost focus, but yes, but that's what we got to do.
It's a nice shirt though.
I like the shirt. I like his shirt. Leave him alone.
But you know what? We got to make sure that we keep each other on point so we can make sure that we all are moving towards the same goal. So I thank you for that, Minister Asar. Looks a little similar, but yes, it's Haru. But nevertheless, for those who didn't have a chance to hear Dr. Maat or didn't have a chance to see the show before, this is a little rundown of who she is and the things that she has going on. So Dr. Maat is native of Baltimore, Maryland, and she received her undergrad degree in electrical engineering at Morgan State University, and she continued her educational endeavors, receiving a PhD doctorate degree in engineering. All right. And, she has a passion to be able to restore proper teachings to our people so we could self-actualize on a high level. Some of you all may have seen her lecture and present on the House of Consciousness on Eder TV. And she's also down with the Amin Ra Squad, who works on behalf of bringing accurate and authentic information to the Black community. And she also is the co-founder of Ed Anime Productions, which provides innovative and engaging educational material primarily for Black children with the objectives to educate, foster self-esteem, and encourage solidarity. So it's all geared towards the physical, mental, and emotional development of our children. So without further delay, without further ado, we're going to get into the state of the Black family. We're going to get into the state of the Black family. And I know she's pumped up. I know she's excited. I know, I know you are as well, Minister Sar. I know I am. So we can go ahead and get right into it, family. Dr. Maat, welcome back on the show once again. Conscious Black Business Network, Off the Cuff Conversation. Talk to us. How you feel? Glad to have you back in the studio, the new studio. You've never been in this one yet.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I would like to begin by saying peace and Black power. All praises to the ancestors. Thank you, Minister Asar. And thank you, Brother Sankofa, for inviting me back. The last time I was here, we had a good time. Yes, we talked about a lot of great things. I have my family with me today in the studio, even though whoever is watching it from YouTube can't see them. But to my left, I have my two sons that are sitting there, Harvey and Isaiah. I also have with me my cousin, Luther Elliott, who is also a co-founder of Ed Anime Productions. And then I have my cousin, Makai.
So Luther.
Yeah, that's Luther.
Oh, I've been hearing all about Luther.
You been hearing about Luther?
Yeah. I come up in here deep, making me afraid up in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, gotta bring the warrior, you know, the warrior class with me when I travel. So I'm happy to be in the building and to be here amongst family. And I would like to salute the sisterhood who are watching us and the brotherhood who are watching us from wherever you're watching us. So I would like to salute you guys, and that's that. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm pumped up about getting started. I'm excited about this topic. I know that Brother Sankofa contacted me a few weeks ago, and then we finally settled on a topic a few days ago that needs to be discussed, and that is the state of the Black family. Because we have to realize this. We have to realize this, Minister Asar and Brother Sankofa. We yell Black power, but we have to understand that you can't have Black power unless you have Black unity. And male-female relationships are the fundamental building blocks, the atoms of Black unity. Ashe?
All right.
So if you destroy Black male-female relationships, then you destroy the Black family. If you destroy the Black family, then you destroy the Black race. So it's very vital that we revitalize and restore the Black family. And when we talk about the Black family, we're not just solely talking about man, woman, and child. We're talking about the entire Black family. Ashe. So I'm looking forward to having this discourse. And where do you want to begin, Brother Sankofa? Because I'm ready to go in.
Well, you know what? Let's go ahead, head first right into it. The state of the Black family. Dr. Maat, when you and I were talking, and I did reach out to you initially, and yesterday we settled on a topic, and that is important because when it comes to restoring our people and serving as a vessel to get them out of the sick state that they're in, we can't just rush in and choose anything. This is a very vital, important topic.
I agree, Ashe.
This is very important. So one of the things that you and I was speaking about, was this concept of how we even see our family. What is the concept of the family that we see today in comparison to the way we should see family from how our ancestors did it and how our ancestors approached this concept of a family?
Yes. Today, and then you made this point to me when we were talking a few days ago. You said today we have this concept of a nuclear family.
Yes.
So when we think of family, we think of a mother, a father, and children, dependent children. So that is the components of a nuclear family. But that wasn't so in Africa.
Okay.
In Africa, Sheikh Anta Diop tells us in his book, let me get it out. In his book, The Cultural Unity of Black Africa, the Domains of Matriarchy, antiquity that in Africa, your maternal aunties were considered also your mother. So you would call them mommy.
Sure.
So when visitors would come in and observe an African village, they would not know who the biological mother was because all of the children would refer to different mother as mother. So they had no idea. So you didn't know who the biological mother was unless you were in the community. Okay.
Gotcha.
So that was the concept. Your mother's sisters were also called mother too. And Effeminization book, she talks about how the family family doesn't just consist of the nuclear family, but the extended family is also included in every aspect of your life, during the birth cycle, throughout your life, when you get married, when you have children, and even to bury you. Okay. So it wasn't just about the nuclear family, it was also about your extended family. Absolutely. And the family would come together. So at birth, the family would come together. When you got married, all the women came and they would give you prizes, and cousins, and what we call cousins, sure. And aunties and uncles would come from afar, and rituals would be performed when you came into manhood and womanhood, and when you got married, and when you gave birth, and when you died. I'm not even gonna say died, I'll say rebirth. When you transition to rebirth, the family, the extended family, was also a part of all of these aspects of your life. So with that said, this adoption of a nuclear family really is destructive to our race, because that is not an indigenous practice. Because again, we included, I don't even want to call it the extended family. Your stepmother, I'm not gonna say your stepmother, but your mother-in-law, your in-laws, all of them were considered family. But now we're just so divided. It's kind of like it goes back to the Bible. You know how in the Bible, I believe this is in Genesis, where if you get married, it tells a man to cleave onto his wife, and how he's no longer a part of his family. And it tells a woman that when she finds a man, to cleave unto him and to separate herself from her family. And we know where we got the Bible from. So this whole concept of nuclear family is not something that is indigenous to us. It is something that is actually indigenous to the Europeans, and something that, so basically it is a cultural, I would define it as a cultural invariant that has been, that has adversely affected the Black family. Would you like to add anything to that, brother?
I would like to say that peace, family. Minister Hassan here, just thinking about this whole nuclear family. Nuclear families, even to the European, let's stick with the Black people right now, right?
Okay.
But I'm talking about from my point of view. Now, nuclear families came also with single family homes. You understand? At one time, single family homes wasn't even as prevalent as they are today. If you remember, if you look back, older homes were multi-family homes. They had 3-story row homes.
Yes, they did.
And if you look at it in Baltimore, where we're from,
yes, they did.
The houses were larger. They have some smaller ones and things like that, but in most cases they had larger houses, and Black people lived in those houses. Then they created these things called single family homes. And these single family homes is part of what broke us up. We brought into the whole 1950s, 1960s, 1968 integration, Great White Flight. We moving on up. Joyzy and Weezy type of situation. So we were living in larger houses where we had our family in it, but we got spooked.
And you're 100% right, brother. Brother Asar, you might, one family, maybe you and your children and maybe your husband occupy one floor and the children. But remember, grandma might have been upstairs, or your great aunt might have been upstairs, So I completely concur with you. We had the larger homes in Baltimore. I see it all the time on up and down West Fayette Street and Baltimore Street. But we did buy into that.
We bought into it.
We did buy into that. So I completely concur with what you're saying, brother.
Yeah, so we bought into that, Brother Kofi.
Yeah, we absolutely did. I think about a number of parents, Black parents that I know, and there's so many things that promote, let me hurry up and get the child out the house.
Yes,
all these types of things.
Yes,
and that is success. We have to try to work on by any way we can to continue to stay together. We have to try to definitely do that. You know, because I agree with exactly what Minister Sar said. That's important.
And I would like to also add that with the nuclear family came the destruction of it takes a village to raise a child.
Absolutely.
You know, it kind of eliminated that whole concept. It takes a village to raise the child. So nowadays with the nuclear family, remember, I'm only concerned about me and mine, my husband and my children.
That's me and mine.
And then me and mine. So so when someone comes in and tries to reprimand my children, now this is not your child, this is my child. Whereas in Africa, a child was everyone's child. You understand what I'm saying? So even with the nuclear family came the elimination of it takes a village to raise a child, because the village is not raising the child right now. It's really the nuclear family, and even that is being destroyed as we speak. You understand what I'm saying? So with that came, the destruction of the whole concept of a village. Absolutely. The village is in trouble right now.
And it was from my standpoint, and actually I have a great teacher, Dr. Marion Stanton, who's the provost at Sojourner Douglas College, who said that it was intentional. It wasn't by mistake. You understand? And we all know nothing is done by mistake. We know the media manipulate us. You know, they put out things and we're like dogs running after bones. I'm not calling us dogs, but what I'm saying is we have to wake up. You understand? So it broke the family, definitely, Dr. Maya.
But I'm glad that you mentioned the media. A lot of us, earlier today, I actually put up a post on Facebook, just reminding brothers and sisters that we have to watch what we put in our diet. And when I mean by diet, I'm using diet in the context of anything that you consume daily. And I was saying that you have to watch, when we're functioning in this physical world, we interact with this physical world using our 5 senses, right? See, touch, taste, smell, and hear, right? So, anything. So when you ingest things into your mind and body, you do that using your 5 senses. So I was just reminding brothers and sisters to watch what you put inside your body. Watch, be mindful of the images that you watch. And you made a good point that the media, at my last lecture out in California, with Sister Zaza Ali, and shout out to the Magi Archer for putting that event together in Oakland, California. I brought up the show Empire. And Empire is this nation's #1 show on television right now. Really? But if you look at Empire, so you have about 5 main characters. You have Lucius. And Lucius is played by Terrence Howard. And his mother was a bipolar woman who tried to kill him, and he never knew his father. All right. So there's not an image of a strong Black family there. Right. Then if you look at Taraji, she spent a long time incarcerated.
Cookie.
Yeah, Cookie. Yeah, she plays the character Cookie. And she was incarcerated. And when she came out of prison, she didn't have a good relationship with her 3 sons. So you don't see a family there. Then you look at one of the other characters, Hakeem. Hakeem wants to marry a Filipino or Mexican woman. So again, you don't see a healthy Black male and female relationship there. Then you have one son, I forgot his name, but he's gay. And he, so you don't see a healthy male-female relationship there. Then the other son is married to a Caucasian female, European. And so you don't see a healthy male-female relationship there. So I tell people at the lecture, I say, you can say what you want to say about Bill Cosby or about the Cosby Show, but you saw positive images of the Black family. And we don't see that anymore on television. They don't promote positive or healthy Black families. Normally you see a single mother that's struggling to take care of the children, or you see a single father who is struggling to take care of the children. No more do we see, man, woman, and child, and grandma and grandpa. We don't have those images anymore. So we have to be mindful of what we show our children. I also brought up the show Scandal. And I was saying how in Scandal, I believe that the female, I forgot her name, who's playing the character, but she Kerry Washington, yes. She's dating a European male. So you don't see, again, representation of a strong Black, solid family. Then if you look at How to Get Away with Murder, now these are #1 shows in America, primetime shows in America. How to Get Away with Murder. I believe that the main character at some point was also dating a European male. So what I'm saying is, on TV, you no longer see images of a strong Black family. You don't see it.
Wow.
And people don't understand the power of images. I tell my children all the time, and they can attest to this, that you have to watch what you see, what you hear, because I say anything that you put in your body will germinate and manifest itself at the right time, right? And so I tell them, watch what you see. And right now, they're not seeing healthy images. Well, I showed them a healthy image. I strive to show them healthy images. But I'm talking about our children in general do not see healthy images of a Black family. Does anyone want to add anything to that?
I mean, I agree definitely with what you're saying, Dr. Maat. I mean, I don't have anything to add. I think, what you're saying is much needed. And with you saying that, I mean, this subject matter, I mean, we could have a number of shows just dealing with this alone, because it's an intricate topic.
Yes,
and one of the other things that we also see is this whole patriarchal, the man is the head of the household concept. This is something else that also enters how we see the family. Are
you changing the subject? Because I did have something to talk.
Well, okay, well, go ahead. Okay. I don't want to.
Because I think she hit on a very good point, and that point being the media and that which we ingest, I think is really important. Sister Dr. Maat. Now, one thing is, people think that when you're pointing out these things many times that you're just African about everything. They think that, God dang, can I just look at television? Can I mean, like, give me a break already. Like, this is my time to lay down and enjoy myself. I work all day. Oh no, that won't happen to me. In fact, I can listen to DMX all day and don't want to shoot nobody. You understand? So, I mean, because I'm different.
Right.
You understand? And we begin to think that we really are different, and honestly, I see, by what I see, even what the quote unquote conscious community is putting out, that we're not different, especially if we don't change what we ingest, because what we do is pretty much is emulate that which we see in mainstream society, and we call ourselves conscious. Now, my thing is, if people are not clear on that, Dr. Maat, I like to take them to a white person. Like you trust the white man, don't you?
Right.
You think I'm African, right?
Come on.
So let's go to what is it? Kenneth Bandera in the Bobo doll test. You understand? A psychologist who showed us that when a child is subject to some kind of aggressive behavior, and not only children, adults, when they're subject to some type of aggressive behavior, and aggression is aggression. Doesn't matter. It can be a punch. It can be sexual aggression. It can be verbal aggression. It can be whatever. That when that person is subject or to that, or if the person is isolated in that condition, that they will act that out. So what they did, they put the person in the room with someone who was beating the hell, if I can say, out of the doll, in front of her. No, in front of her, and cussing and doing this and doing that. And guess what? When the adult left the room, the child went over there and started beating the hell out of the doll. But it even got worse. Start picking up weapons and guns. And they say children who were more likely to pick up the gun and shoot it because they were subject to that type of aggression. So what I'm saying is, family, is, how y'all say, I like to see, we got the scientists at the table. I like to say scientific. I don't like to say proven, but I like to say scientifically supported. You understand that that aggression, when you see aggressive behavior, that aggression it comes about. And the thing is, at one time they thought if you subject people to aggression, that it would actually what's the word I'm looking for? It would make them less aggressive. You understand what I'm trying to say? That's not the word I'm looking for, but counter aggressive. But it would kind of dissipate to a degree. That if you are subject to aggression, this will actually get the aggression out of you, and that's a lie. It makes you more aggressive.
Yeah, and then I mean, you touched on a lot of things when you said that if a parent displays such a behavior, right, in front of a child, that when the parent leaves the room, then the child will emulate his or her parents' behavior. And I was actually just having with my son Isaiah today that as a parent, you have to be mindful of what you do in front of your children.
Absolutely.
Because right or wrong, as parents, we teach our children behaviors.
Absolutely.
Right or wrong, you teach them behaviors. So we have to be mindful of what we do, which also brings me to something I want to share. Actually, a friend of mine, I don't know if she's listening, but she pulled me up maybe a few months ago, and she said, Dr. Oya Mayat, she said, you are so hard on Black women. She said, I feel like you cut the brothers a break and that you come down so hard on Black women. And initially, Minister Asar, I was a little offended, by her statement. I said, no, I love the sisters, and I'm a sister first, so no, I'm not trying to beat the sisters down. But what I had to realize was that I am harder on the sisters. And it's nothing wrong with me being harder on the sisters. And the reason that I'm hard on the sisters is because we have to understand our role as Black women.
Right.
We have to understand who we are
Right.
as Black women. We are, and I was having this conversation with my kids and my cousins in the car. I was saying that as Black women, we are the gatekeepers, of this reality.
Absolutely.
And whatever comes out of us, we cultivate. And I'm not taking anything away
Absolutely.
from the Father at all. But we have to understand that whatever, as women, we are the gatekeepers to this reality.
Absolutely.
So no entity is going to come into this reality as a human being unless it comes through the great womb, which we carry. So, and then when we give birth, we cultivate and we nourish that child, and I'm not taking anything away from the Father.
Right.
But we cultivate this person and we nourish this person. So I always tell the sisters that we are the foundation. We are the transmitters of culture. And so if you teach a woman, then you teach a nation. When you teach a man, you teach individual. And I'm not saying that brothers don't teach their children or to teach their wives or whatever. But I'm just saying that when you grab a woman and you teach that woman, she's going to teach her children.
Right.
She may have
Absolutely.
2, 3, 4, 5 children. So as women, I said, yes, I am harder on the sisters because I understand that we are the foundation of the family and the transmitters of culture. So I am harder on the women than the brothers. I am. I had to admit that because I understand my role as a woman.
Well, I mean, if I can, I think that's evident. I mean, absolutely. What is all about? My sister Pierre, she always they think she coming at the women. You know what I'm saying? And in fact, she's trying to uplift our women.
Exactly.
You know what I'm trying to say. In fact, I'm hard as hell on men. Well, boys, you mean trying to be men?
That's right. Come on.
Well, somewhere around there. You know what I'm trying to say.
Come on.
But especially those in the conscious quote unquote community. I'm hard on them because they supposed to know better.
That's right.
You
Come
understand?
on.
And look, I mean, I see a lot of foolishness going on.
Yep.
The show is not going to become that today, but we can talk about it from an not abstract, but direct way. But we don't have to throw any names in there.
True.
Unless it comes about. You know what I'm saying? Unless get me all pumped up or something. You know what I'm saying? But no, I mean, absolutely, women. Look, I don't care. Men. I'm talking about in the quote unquote conscious community. A lot of times, their wife is not on the same accord with them. I counsel people. So what I'm saying is not on the same accord with them when it comes to this consciousness. What maybe the wife is in church. I'm not saying the church is a bad thing.
Come on, I'm
saying, but you're just looking at YouTube goddamn all day, right? So what happens is this man is saying, well, look, I'm trying to teach my children conscious, and it can be vice versa as well. But I'm just talking about what I see as the norm. This all around. So I think that what you're doing is a good work and a much needed work because, women, actually women for women, men for men. Not to say we can't come together.
And brother and Minister Asar, but that's African,
Right.
because we had to remember in Africa they employed the dual sex system. So in the dual sex system, remember, women govern women and men govern men. And in this dual sex system, the leaders of the women's council would sit down with the leaders of the men's council, and together they would make decisions for the community. So what you and I are talking about right now is the dual sex system that was employed in Africa thousands of years ago. And we had to understand, it's nothing wrong with you holding the brothers accountable. It's nothing wrong with me holding the sisters accountable, and then us coming together, the vanguard of these populations, or the vanguard of these councils coming together, sitting at the table and making a collective decision for the community. And that's African.
I mean, that's
African.
In fact, guess what it is?
What is it, brother?
It's Maat.
It's Maat. It's balance.
Absolutely.
Come on.
So we got, it's Maat. You talk about Maat, but you don't want to deal with Maat.
Come on.
And I'm not saying that, you don't get home and your wife and husband don't come together and we can't critique each other, because we had a show about that. Like my wife, she makes me sharper and I make her sharper.
That's right.
I think that is balance. You got what I'm trying to say?
That's right. That's right. And it's balance. And see, I don't want to jump the topics, but that was my whole issue with the black woman is God, Minister Asar. You mind if I go there? Y'all mind if
that topic? You
mind if I go there? So that was my whole issue with the black woman is God. And I'm not talking about the brothers who were trying to give the sisters some esteem. I'm talking to and about the brothers and the sisters who took that concept and ran with it. And it was kind of like the black woman is God. They elevated the black woman and then they denigrated the black man. And that's when it became, anti-African, anti-Maat, because you can't elevate one principle without elevating the other principle. And in Africa, everything was based on duality, complements, so when you take harmonious dualism out of the equation, now we're not talking African, we're talking something else. So that was my whole issue with the black woman is God. I wasn't trying to, when I posed the question back in, I think it was February, if I'm not mistaken, Minister Asar in Sankofa. But when I posed the question, is the black woman God? I wasn't trying to minimize the brother's efforts to elevate the black woman at all. I wasn't trying to do that. My intention was to say that, you can't elevate black women and denigrate black men. What's going on, brother?
You got some people on here saying they love you, they love your books, but then you got somebody saying, please go in on the brother. I ain't even say, like, you want me to say it? They say, please go in on polite.
Look, I want to shout out the brothers and sisters in the chat room, the brothers and sisters. And I know that person who said it was probably somebody who saw the presentation when I actually called them out, on this Bartholin gland. I mean, they had sisters. Oh my goodness. They had sisters believing that women had the ability to produce sperm via the Bartholin gland. And then you had another brother. You mind if I call his name?
I don't care.
Okay. You had another brother by the name of Pharaoh, who during an interview with Sister Melanin Sutek told 30,000 viewers that women did not need men, and that if all men died, all you had to do was take your bone marrow out, because he said the bone marrow contains sperm. And all of that was pseudo. Right. All of that was pseudo. Women do not have the ability to produce sperm. And let me bring up something real fast. I'm actually getting into the brother in the chat room got me hot. He got me hot now, and I'm getting ready to pull out some of my notes that I planned on doing on Sinetta's channel next week. But we have to understand what the Bartholin gland is, okay? So the Bartholin glands are glands that are located, if a woman were to open her vulva, there are ducts that sit, two little holes, and there are ducts and glands that sit behind the holes, okay? So the Bartholin gland is simply a gland that secretes mucus that assists with vulvar and vaginal lubrication. That's all it is. So it's just lubrication, and it actually only consists of a few drops, okay, when a woman is aroused. So when a woman is aroused, most of her fluid, comes from the inside, but these ducts actually lubricate the vulva. It doesn't have seminal fluid. We had to understand where seminal fluid comes from. Seminal fluid comes from a man's bulbourethral gland, his prostate gland, in his seminal vesicles, okay? And then we know that semen is manufactured in the testicles, in the, I think it's called seminiferous tubules, okay? A woman does not have, first of all, you don't have testes, okay? So to generate sperm, you would have to have testicles, okay? And in order to have testicles, a woman would have to possess, which is called the SRY gene, okay? So if anyone is listening, go to Google and Google SRY gene. The SRY gene is the gene that turns a bipotential gonad from it turns that into a penis. It evolves into a male reproductive system, but the SRY gene has to be present. So now once you have testicles, okay, there are different genes, all right, that are on this Y chromosome. You have the TSPY, you have the RBMY, you have the PRY, and I mean all of these. I'm going to go in depth on Signetta's channel. But all of those genes are conducive to spermatogenesis. Okay, so that's what produces the sperm. As women, we do not have these genes. So for brothers to say that a woman is capable of generating and secreting sperm, I mean, that's a lie. So then you had a lot of sisters saying, we don't need men. You already got sisters mad with the brothers. Now you telling them that they don't need a man to reproduce. So what that was doing, which brings us back to our conversation on the nuclear family, that was destroying the black family. You had sisters saying, look, I don't need a man. I can have babies by myself. Since when, Minister Asar?
Well, sister, I read some books myself, and it didn't start with these brothers. These brothers just picked up the wrong books. So, I've read this like the different goddess books, and some of these goddess books actually have this type of information, and in fact, it actually promotes homosexuality as well. And also one of the female rites of passages programs led by a sister named Latava, she actually speaks on it as well. She speaks about, in her book I was reading the book, and then she gets to a point and she says, she talks about how men were, inferior and so on and so forth.
Lord.
They didn't let them into the village, and not until they let them into the village,
that's
and
a lie.
chaos and all this didn't come about. And then she gets to a point, I say, what the hell is she talking about? Then she gets to a point and say, like Malcolm says, by any means necessary, do our liberation by any means necessary, saying homosexuality is a route that we need to actually adhere to as well to get to our liberation. You understand? So she said homosexuality is not your problem. Leave them alone. People, leave them alone. She says that by any means necessary, and that's part of the route to liberation. Not to talk about it, but also to go forward. Just talking about this whole thing with Brother Polite and Brother Pharaoh. I still say Pharaoh and brothers, still brothers, right? But nonetheless, I've already saw the academic carelessness years ago when I saw that not only did he talk about secreting seminal fluid through the Bafni gland, he also spoke about keeping your thyroids inside of you and this type of thing, which also does this type of thing that assists with the process. And I'm looking at this stuff, and people are eating it up. Then his wife supported, and everybody. So what I'm saying, like, look, what y'all pseudo, right? Real pseudo information. I'm like, how can you support this? Okay, can you show me a modern day style? Then also down the same vein, look, we allow people to teach us stuff they can't prove. That is crazy.
And then just look around at nature, Minister Asar. We're sitting here saying that, I remember asking this question on Facebook. I said, as men and women, do we hate each other that much that we fathom a time where one existed without the other. You know, like, do we hate each other that much that we want to imagine life, you know, without the other? You look around. I can't either.
Lord.
I would lose my mind. Actually, I was in a situation, and my family knows about this, about a year ago, where I was in that situation. And I'll speak on that during another show. And I lost my mind. I was so happy, little buddy. You remember when I would call you on the phone? And I said, these women are driving me crazy. I need to hear a man's voice.
Absolutely.
You know, so, you know, if you look around at nature, because, you know, that's what we did as Africans, we studied nature. In nature, you see the law of opposites. That law prevails in nature. There's no up without down. There's no left without right. There's no summer without winter, fall without spring. You know, so duality was at the core of our systems of thought. Okay. So when you look at the different systems of thought, let's start with the Heliopolitan, a need meaning 8. Okay. It talked about the waters of noon. Okay. The water. But when you think of water, Minister Asar, we understand that water is still what? It's matter. That's what it is. It's like unformed, unshaped matter. And when you think of matter, even matter has a dual nature. You look at matter, the tiniest unit of matter is an atom. When we look at an atom is a proton, neutron, and electron. You agree with that? So the proton has a positive charge, the electron has a negative charge. So we see opposites. Now, this is on a microscopic level. You see opposites, you see polarities, okay? And even if we want to get into the science a little deeper, quantum physics teaches us that not only do you have a proton, neutron, and electron, the electron actually circles around the proton and the neutron, okay? And it has a particle in a wave function. So now you're also looking at dual movement. You have position, and then you have still position, and you have movement. So then again, you're looking at duality. So even on a microscopic level, you see duality, you know. So let's get into the Heliopolitan Aeneid. It talks about the waters of noon and the primeval mound, and it said Atum Ra, you know, emerged on the mound. And I know that in one of the pyramid texts, it talked about how Atum he created Shu and Tefnut through an act of masturbation with his hand and with his seed. But we had to understand symbolism. Hand was symbolic, they say, and this is from these are from the brothers on the squad. Shout out to brother Wujairu and also brother Reggie with the House of Consciousness. We had this dialogue a few weeks ago where we talked about Atum and how Atum had a feminine and masculine expression, the hand representing the woman, the seed representing the man. So even in the beginning, Atum, the Netta, had a male-female expression. And then Atum gave birth to Shu. And Shu was air, and then Tefnut. So Shu was masculine, air. Tefnut was feminine, moisture. And Tefnut and Shu gave birth. They begot Geb, earth, man, Nut, woman, heaven, right? So we're seeing the concept of duality. And even when you get into the other systems of thought, such as the Hermopolitan Agdoed, and also you had the Hermopolitan, you had the Memphite, and then you had the Theban. But in all of these systems of thought, we see duality and we see the law of opposites. So our ancestors understood that. In fact, in Kemet, our mathematics was based on it was a binary system, right? So Egyptian mathematics or Kemetic mathematics, whatever you want to call it, duality was even at the core of the Kemetic system, mathematical system. So they used a binary system. Everything was done in twos and doubles. So when they added, subtracted, multiplied, and divide, they did all of that based on the number 2. Okay. And then even when you get into the stories of creation, African stories of creation, man and woman were created in pairs. Right. Let's talk about the Bobo people. The Bobo people were Manding people who lived in the western part of Burkina Faso in West Africa, they had a god named Bobo, which was manifested in two aspects, a feminine and a masculine aspect. If you get into the Igbo land in Nigeria, they had a creator god, Shikwu, who created everything that exists. And it said that it created these different entities in pairs. And the Dogon of Mali, you had Amma, and Amma was an androgynous deity. So you see androgyny, masculine and feminine. And then you also had the Serer people. They had a creation myth for the god Rug. And it says that Rug went through a gestation phase, which signaled the gestation of man and woman paired within the divine placenta. Okay, so man and woman were created in pairs. So that was my whole issue with the black woman is God. You're telling women that they're superior to men. You're saying that men are degenerate females. You're saying that women came first, that women were primordial. And I have an issue with that because all of that is anti. First of all of it is false, but it's also anti-African. That is not what we revere. That's not what we worship. You know, we worship fertility. And in order for fertility to manifest, you had to have the phallus in the womb. All right. So.
Wow. You know, Dr. Maat, you know, it's definitely important to, you know, one of the things that we recently did, Dr. Maat, was a media fast. And we did that because, you know, these falsehoods, these, you know, these, the ways how we shouldn't see our family, it's like constantly amongst us in the media and the television and all those things. And it's definitely important to restore the proper way of how we should see this family business. When you speak about patriarchy and you know, matriarchy, you know, what would you say about that in regards to you know, because you have some sisters who say, well, you know, I try to get along with men, I keep getting burnt. You know, I try to you know, be with this brother, you know, it didn't work out. I'm bitter. I have pain. I constantly keep trying over and over and over again. It just doesn't seem to want to work. And you have brothers who also may say the same thing. So what would you say to you know, to many of our people that may have that type of outlook?
So the question was, so was this a two-part question? What are my thoughts on matriarchy and patriarchy? And then what are my thoughts on, what's the latter part?
And the latter part was the brother or sister that may feel some kind of way by, you know, if they have had a negative relationship. Or they got burnt, or they have pain, or they're bitter, or it just wasn't a good experience. Them feeling, oh, I don't need this brother, I don't need this sister.
Okay, so let me get into the patriarchy and matriarchy. And before I do, I would like to shout out to a brother Yara from Comedic Press who is watching us right now. I would like to say Hotep and Black African Power, brother Yara. I would also like to shout out brother Knowledge Born Allah, who is in the building. In fact, I was just on his show about 2 weeks ago. So we got a lot of brothers and sisters in the building, and I would like to thank you all for watching and tuning in. But to answer your question on matriarchy and patriarchy, first of all, we got to understand who developed these systems.
Absolutely.
Who developed these systems? Okay, matriarchy. Now, when a lot of brothers hear the word matriarchy, they think that matriarchy is the opposite of patriarchy. And when you think of a patriarchal system, you think of a system in which women were oppressed, where women are subdued, oppressed, you know, and subjugated by men. So that's what comes to mind when you think of patriarchy. You have patri, father, so man is the head, you know, and women kind of take on a secondary role, you know, in the family. So that's what comes to mind when you think of patriarchy. So when brothers hear matriarchy, they think that matriarchy is the opposite of that. So now they think that men are now subdued, you know, and now they are you know, less than, and they take on a secondary role. And that's not matriarchy at all. In Sheikh Anta Diop's book, A Cultural Unity of Black Africa, The Domains of Matriarchy and Patriarchy in Classical Antiquity, on page 108, and I have my laptop right here in front of me. He says this. He said, matriarchy is not an absolute and cynical triumph of woman over man. It is harmonious dualism. All right. And we just had a conversation about harmonious dualism. It says, an association accepted by both sexes, the better to build a sedentary society where each and everyone could fully develop by following the activity best suited to his physiological nature. A matriarchal regime, far from being imposed on man by circumstances independent of his will, is accepted and defended by him. Okay, so matriarchy, he said, is harmonious dualism. He also said that it was better to build a sedentary society, because we have to remember, back in Africa, we come from hunter-gatherers. So even though we were a sedentary people, the men still were somewhat mobile because they would go out and hunt. So who was home? Who was governing the village while you all were out hunting? Who was home taking care of the babies, making sure that the village was clean, producing fruits, vegetables, and herbs, and healing our children, and waiting for you to come home with the meat? And sometimes you didn't come back home with any meat. So who was home doing that? It was the woman. So she governed. So a lot of these communities were kind of female centered. Females were at the core, the center of these communities. And the men did that. The men purposely did that. It says that a matriarchal regime, far from being imposed on man by circumstances independent of his will, is accepted and defended by him. So the matriarchal system was actually set up by the African man. All right. So I would like to read something from Sister Ife Amadoume's book, Male Daughters, Female Husbands, Gender and Sex in an African Society. On page 189, she says this. She says, I believe that this study calls for a reassessment of the term matriarchy and of its true place and role in history of African political systems and culture. It calls for the recognition of such factors as mother right, matrifocality, mother focus, matricentrism, female orientation, and that's what I just said a few moments ago, as aspects of a matriarchal culture. She said we should dismiss the anthropological definition, which recognizes as matriarchal only a society completely ruled by women, and which claims that such a society has only ever existed in myth. So she's saying that's a complete farce to say that a matriarchal society means that women ruled. That's not what a matriarchy society is. She said that it was female oriented. It was mother right. So hold on. She says this. I want to finish up this with Minister Saw. She said it's only logical that the opposite definition should hold true for patriarchy, a society completely ruled by men. She says new research, which acknowledges women as subjects and reveals women's contribution to society and culture, indicates that the facts contradict the standard definition. She said men never rule completely anywhere. The claims of patriarchy remains valid only if women do in society and culture is denied and they are treated as invisible. Then she ends by saying matriarchy and patriarchy are parts of ideology. She said patriarchy ideology being oppressive to women. Matriarchal ideology being strongly linked with motherliness and love, indeed at the expense of mothers. So she goes into how it was oriented around the mother. It wasn't about oppressing men. Right. And then, like I said, in fact, the African man set up the matriarchal system. Right.
I get that. However, I think sometimes we try too hard to try to clean up a word. I think honestly, we could just use another word, because absolutely unequivocally, archy means to rule. So you can say that it doesn't mean, but it does. Like it's like using other. I understand the whole. If the definition is what the definition is that the working definition that you're utilizing, I can go with that. However, the problem comes in when we look up the damn words. Excuse me.
True. But that's real talk.
You see what I'm saying?
That's real talk.
So I mean, Jock, we understand his works was translated from another language, was transliterated. Again, I don't know actually what he said in his language, what the word was. However,
you said Diop?
Yeah,
he wrote in French.
Right.
Yeah,
so
his
now
writings were in French.
So I don't know what the word was in French.
I agree.
Come on, I don't, and I know when you transliterate a thing, you lose a thing. You understand what I'm trying to say? The other thing is archy clearly means rule.
Yes, it
you
does.
Understand? It means govern.
Yes,
it means
it
this. So I kind of bear with what's the brother Obati Shaka. He has a book called Twin Lineal. I also go with the approach of matrilineal. And they have patrilineal societies in Africa as well.
Yes, they do.
So I don't even try to get caught up in that argument. I say patrilineal, matrilineal, or twinlineal. And twinlineal mean that it's balance. That's balance. You understand what I'm saying?
I like twinlineal.
So I go with the whole thing, you know, and understand why matrilineal is important. Matrilineal is important because the things were passed on through the brother's bloodline, and the patrilineal was passed on down from the father's bloodline. So sometimes you need to use these as well, depending on how the governance system is. However, matriarchy clearly means, unequivocally means rule. But I do understand. It's almost like saying, you know, it's just redefining the word.
No, I mean, I can understand your point, because even Ifa Abadume talks about the power of language. And in her book, she often, you know, she was kind of apprehensive about using certain words. Like she didn't want to use God. Instead of using God, she used the word deity, because she said when you think of God, you automatically think of a masculine, a masculine entity. And so she used the word deity because she said when you think of deity, it can mean both. So she was talking about the power of words. So I don't think that when they set up these systems that they necessarily called them matriarchy, you know what I mean, or patriarchy.
Right.
Those words didn't exist.
These words came about.
Yeah, these words came about. So I actually concur with what you're saying. But Sheikh Auntie Diop, for argument's sake, use the term, you know, matriarchy to bring it, I guess, to give us an understanding of what the system was. Right. You know, so I hear what you're saying, that when you look at the etymology of the word matriarchy, you know, mother, woman. I'm on archy. You know, archy. You look up archy. Archy means to rule. So you think of matri. I get that when you look up.
I'm on here with the squad. Yeah, the squad always doing the etymology. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. So I hear what you're saying. But with these systems, the point that I was trying to make is that, you know, it was mother-centered. It was female-oriented societies, because the man revered the woman, and he revered the woman because he actually equated the maternal powers of a woman with earth fertilities. Yes. You know, so even when you look back and they excavated, you know, they found we call them Venus figurines, but I just like to call them figurines. Yes. But they found figurines, you know, 30,000, 20,000 years ago, years old, and it was fertility.
Great mother.
You know, you seen the great mother. So we see what the African man venerated. He set up his society. It was female oriented because he venerated fertility.
Absolutely.
You know,
and I think we you know, and it was no such word as matriarchy in Africa. But however, I do understand. I do accept your definition. As long as we on the same page and we understand, ain't no thing. I can get with a word and definition as long as we have a working definition. So definitely, Sister Maat, I definitely agree with your synopsis, your assessment. It's very thorough. I really appreciate the education. I can't wait to hear you. What you said, about a week from now?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Sinetta TV studios and get it in on duality. I don't know what I'm gonna call the presentation yet. I don't know if I'm gonna call it, you know, the principle of duality, is the black woman God? You know, I don't know what I'm gonna say, but it's gonna be based on the whole black woman is God thing and why I oppose it. And my whole objective of going there is really to promote my yacht. To say, asked me, what would I say to a brother or a sister who's had a bad experience, you know, with the opposite sex? You know, if you had a bad experience, I would say don't give up. That's what I would say. We need each other. You know, can you imagine what's going on?
Oh, no, you good.
Okay, yeah, I would say not to give up. Not what's going on, Minister?
No, they have questions. So, you know.
Okay, what's the question? I want to. Looking at the screen. I'm looking at the screen.
I'm just saying, you know, just figure it out. I think you're such a good role. You know, I can come after you finish that.
Okay, no, I was just saying that what I would say to a brother who's had a bad experience with a sister and vice versa is that you can't give up. We can't give up on our counterpart. We can't. And I know a lot of sisters get frustrated with the brothers, but we got to remember the story of Aset and Asar. You know what I mean? You know what she did for that brother? She resurrected that brother. You know, that's what she did. So we as women have to understand our power. You know, I think that we don't. And so, you know, that's why I try my hardest to get the sisters on board, you know, and uplift my sisters, because I know that if I resurrect my sisters, that my sisters will resurrect our men. You understand that, brother? So, you know, if I resurrect my sisters, they are going to resurrect our men. Remember, I said resurrected Asar. It wasn't the other way around.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's what I would say to my sisters who've had bad experiences with brothers. I would caution them to be selective, you know, more selective of the brothers that they give themselves to. Right. You know, have a standard. But see, the issue is that a lot of women don't, I'm not saying a lot, but as women, a lot of us do not have standards. And on the on Knowledge Born Allah's show a few weeks ago, we talked about broken homes and homes that the father, you know, homes in which the father's out of, you know, when they took the father out of the home. Right. Okay. And I'm not saying that I'm not just blaming the government, you know, black men, come on now. But, you know, so I'm not just putting it all on. Yeah, I'm not just putting it all on the government. But once the father left the home, that was the worst thing that could have happened, in my opinion, to the black family. You know, once our men, you know, became, you know, incarcerated, murdered, you know, gay, and they left it destroyed the family. A lot of these women are really seeking male validation. So you have a lot of women out here, they don't even have a standard because no father's in the home to show them what a man should be. There's no father in the home that you can bring your boyfriend to and say, Daddy, look, you know, I met this guy, and your father say, oh, no, baby, he's not the one. You can do better than that. You know, there's no father into home to sit you on his lap and tell you, you know, that you're beautiful. So a lot of these sisters, when they run out here in the streets, the first brother that says you're beautiful, you know, we're ready to drop our drawers. You know, because we're seeking and we're looking for male validation. So a lot of these women, you know, they're broken. I'm sure if the brothers, and that's why I'm gonna say to the brothers who are listening, who've had issues with black women, be patient with us. You know, just like I'm telling the sisters to be patient with the brothers, the brothers need to be patient with us. Talk to that sister. I guarantee you, could put it like this. If she didn't have a good relationship with her father, how the hell do you expect her to have a good relationship with you? She doesn't know how to. It's just kind of like trial and error. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I know because I'm speaking from experience. You understand what I'm saying? So I know I came from a broken home. And don't get me wrong, my mother, she was phenomenal. You know, my mother taught me how to be a woman. You know what I mean? She taught me how to make sure my house was clean. She taught me how to take care of my children. My mother taught me how to clean myself as a woman, how to present myself in public. I'll never take away, you know, what my mother taught me. But I was angry growing up because I didn't have daddy there. I didn't have male validation there. So when I was a teenager, I always fought boys. I always fought them. I was mean to them. You know, I was mean to them. And I was one of those women that said, I don't need you. You know, I could do it on my own. I was that woman. Okay. You know, so I say to the brothers who are having bad experiences with the sister, talk to that sister and try to get an understanding of her family dynamic. It was her daddy around? You know, if not, was her uncle around? Has she ever been sexually violated? Talk to that woman and really see, you know, really try to understand her and her life's experiences. So then you won't get so frustrated. You'll learn to have more patience in dealing with her because you know what you're dealing with. You know what I mean?
I mean, Mary J. Blige has a beautiful song when she actually expresses that. I can't remember the song. She was like, she just saying her daddy wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? It's a very powerful song that Mary J. has. But sister, Dr. Maya, I will say this. Honestly, I can't find. I don't know why one would even debate you. To be honest with you, I mean, we can debate matriarchy and matrilineal, but overall, what you're really saying to me, you're one of the most balanced people I've seen address this subject.
Wow.
In fact, I'm really being honest. I've seen a lot of people who can't address this subject from a balanced point of view. I'm going to tell you another sister who's in here, very balanced in addressing this subject. You understand? Actually, I spoke to her and we had a conversation. I said, sister, you need to get a radio show. And basically, you know, poof, pow, it happened, right? So definitely, I believe that you are very balanced in your approach to this subject. I think people should listen. I think I really appreciate,
no doubt,
you know, you coming out and saying, you know why? Because I've been saying this thing, but you know, if I say a thing or male say a thing, it's looked at a little differently. But I think you come very balanced. You hold everybody accountable.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? You know, you hold everybody accountable. Even if sometimes it seems like we may be leaning on one side too heavily. Like somebody say, so are you beating the sisters up?
That's what they say.
You know what I'm saying? But no. But also I see where you hold. I see balance, honestly.
I see it as well.
I see a balance. Now sometimes when things can get lost in translation, but mostly from what I've seen of what you're presented, has always been in balance. Now, the only reason why I think one would not see the balance in what you're saying is because they think you're bringing them down. In fact, you're not saying, I've heard you I heard the lecture, I think when you went up before, I guess it was the debate up in New York, and you said something like, you know, even though you're saying the black woman is in God, you got to a point where you said if the black woman is God, then the black man also has to be God.
I did say that.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So even if some things got lost in translation, listen to those very powerful words. You know, there is a scripture, ancient Egyptian scripture, that says that, you know, listen to the heart because words are confusion. So basically, you know, if one taps into your heart, and I realize even looking at you know, you're a very energy type of person, because I'm looking at the thing and you like, brother, you gonna pay attention to me. You gonna give me, you gonna give me some look. And I said, okay, so she's an energy sister as well, not a spooky energy person, but definitely, you know, I appreciate that. You know, and I'm being honest. Sister Dr. Maat is very balanced, and that's all I gotta say. I know when she comes, she's gonna come correct. When I saw her on the couch and she was talking about mathematics starting in Africa, is that what it was?
Yeah, the origin of math. The oldest evidence of mathematics.
I said, I've been waiting for this. Then I said she ain't gonna come with no buffoonery, no foolishness. You understand what I'm trying to say? She is gonna stand her ground and look. And if she say, well, look, okay, well, I could think different. She's not going to just argue just to argue. Through debate, whatever you want to call it, we can grow from it. You understand? And you know, with that being said, you also spoke about the young sisters and how they need their father.
Yes.
Earlier, you spoke about how they need their mother.
Yes.
But then you come back and you say that they need their father. You said the mother is that one who really teaches and raises. But then you came back. That's the balance side of you. Automatically coming back and saying, well, look, also is that missing component when the father's not at home.
I agree.
You understand? And that's what you said.
Right,
I agree with you.
I
you see what I'm saying? And that's true. I'm not sure if you ever saw a documentary. A brother showed me a documentary. It woke me up. I mean, I was already awakened, but what I'm saying is it made me know how much more pertinent the father is in his daughter's life.
Oh, yes.
You know,
I say it all the time.
Because people always say the boy needs the father in his life, but really, the girl needs him just as much.
Yes, she does.
And vice versa.
Yes,
so
she does.
Look, I can never go unbalanced in anything I say. I can never say one needs one more. This one is that one. I can't do it. I'm sorry, family. I can't do it. We all important. You got what I'm saying? We all important. You know, like my sister said, you know, as a god, it got to be a goddess. If it's a goddess, it got to be a god. I can't go no other way. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
Compliments, duality, balance.
So Jenks Morton. The document is Jenks Morton, the guy who made what's the other movie he made that he's very popular about?
Hoodwink.
Mm-hmm. But
I've heard of Hoodwink.
But he also if you haven't seen Hoodwink, he breaks down. Look, you would love it. Armin Ross Squad would love it.
I'm gonna check it out
because he talks about even the stuff, some of the stuff we say and we regurgitate is false in the conscious community. Now he ain't pointing out the conscious community, but he's even talking about the 4th grade test scores. And who the hell made that up? And how does that have to do with, you know, the pipeline to jail? He's saying, okay, where did that come from? I mean, he's really challenging some statistics and saying he went around to colleges. I'll digress for a moment. Mm-hmm. To college and asked them, so how many black men are more black men incarcerated or in college? And everybody said incarcerated.
A myth.
And he went around he went around all these black colleges, Sojourner Douglas, Howard University, Bowie State University, everywhere. And then he came back and there's more black men in college. But he also goes on this Dear Daddy documentary. And I swear, I mean, if you haven't seen Dear Daddy, you got to get it. In fact, if you don't have it, I'll get it. You come up, come and join us. I make sure I have it that 7th. I make sure Baba Chuck has it for you.
Okay, definitely.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, but nonetheless, you got some spicy questions on here. But nonetheless, I can't get off that subject because it's very important. And I appreciate you sharing your own life, and because our own life, is a testimony, and out of the darkness comes the light.
That's right.
And that's what we see before us, Dr. Maat.
Fantastic, Ashe. So what are the questions that
you got these spicy questions, brother James McIver, James.
Oh yeah, brother James. Peace, brother James.
Peace, brother James.
James in there. Hey, James, you can call up too, bro.
That's right.
But anybody, before Doc, you take some calls tonight?
Yeah, I'll take some calls.
You want to keep going? What we got left?
We got a
lot left.
Minutes. We got like 30 minutes.
So we got a lot of content to go over.
I mean,
where were we?
Not am I going through it like a running back through a. I mean, I think we're doing good. You flowing and you're hitting on a lot of the things that unless you got anything more. But
no, we didn't hit on the feminization of the black man.
Okay,
and we didn't touch on the masculization of the black girls. And
okay,
what else was it? Black woman is God. Black feminism and European feminism.
And then the homeschooling.
The benefits of homeschooling. So yeah, that was a couple of things. I mean, but we can do a part 2.
That
we can do that. We can do a part 2, or we can keep on going.
I mean, you can decide. James is going. James, he said, please go impolite. That's what he said, right? We already winning.
James, we already winning in.
I think that's who sparked it, right?
Right. James started it.
But he went on and says, what does someone like Tommy Sotomayor appeal to? Why does someone like Tommy Sotomayor appeal to so many black men?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, brother James. I was looking. I was talking to brother Ankh a few days ago. And he showed me Tommy Sotomayor's GoFundMe page.
Oh my God.
His GoFundMe page has $44,000 in it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about a brother who goes in on black women. Mm-hmm. He presents all these statistics, on abortion and head of household, and he blames the black woman for the condition of the black family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And he is supported by a lot of brothers and some sisters.
He says,
but I will say this: when I was looking through his page, his GoFundMe page, he's supported by a lot of white females and males.
Oh,
so people, when people say a lot of brothers and sisters support him, some do, but he's more supported by the white community than the black community.
Oh, that's what you see?
Yes, that's what I see.
Because I also hear him say that he's supported by more sisters than most of his audience is sisters. I didn't even remember, we on the air, so we might as well go in. I remember the day that you and Unc called up. Unc called up, he got you on the line.
I was so mad that
day. Hey, Unc, look, I'm sorry, Unc.
I was so mad.
I ain't gonna lie, Unc. I ain't gonna lie. I just gotta say, Tommy Sotomayor got all y'all up on there. You, Polite, and Sinetta. But nonetheless, y'all can come back.
But Minister, so I was so embarrassed because I called brother Ankh. I called him on the phone, and he was like, "Look, what you doing?" I said nothing. I'm chilling. I'm calling him to see what's going. He said, "I'm on the other line with Tommy Sotomayor." And he clicked over and punched me in, So I didn't even know who Tommy was at the time. I mean, I heard his name, before, but I never actually listened to his show. So I was completely caught off guard that day when he punched me in on the show. I didn't know what the topic was. I didn't know what it was. So I was totally unprepared for Tommy. But I actually know a way to get Tommy when he starts kicking the statistics, but I don't want to reveal that on the show just in case he's tuning in, and I don't want to prepare him, but it's a way to beat him up when he starts
oh my God.
naming statistics.
Oh my God.
So I found this little weak spot in statistics.
Okay.
And so it's things you can do to challenge his statistics.
Okay.
But I just don't want to put it out there because I don't know if he's listening or whatever. And if I ever had the opportunity to engage with him or intellectually spar with him, I want to slay him. But anyway,
you want that? Hold up. You want that? You gonna do that?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I mean, he boils my.
Oh
He gets under my skin. I couldn't do it.
He would curse you out.
I couldn't do it.
Did you see?
Yes,
I saw video.
Yes, I saw the video.
I was like, okay. Okay, now the guy's definitely a jerk, right? But when that last video,
oh my goodness, when he cursed out the lady and called all kinds of blacks,
such and such. That's why. Look, he said you know what? I can't even believe it. I'll be honest with you. I listened to side and I'm like, come on, man. Why? Look, Tommy Sotomayor actually said, my car costs more than your house, bitch.
I mean, yeah,
my car costs more. I mean,
it was ridiculous.
This is someone they bring into debate.
But you know who I charge? I charge the brothers. Remember earlier today we were talking about the dual sex system. I would charge the brothers to step up and check his behavior. You know what I mean? Like I was telling Brother Ankh, it's no way in hell he should be able to walk in that building without brothers checking him in Harlem. You come into Harlem making money. You shouldn't even be allowed in that venue. If you really love the black woman like you say you do, I tell my children all the time that love is a verb. It's not a noun. I should see your love for me, based on how you treat me. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're telling me that you love the black woman as much as you say you do, then you should be censoring this brother's behavior. And that's where the importance of the dual sex system again comes into play. It shouldn't be sisters calling him up and cursing him out and checking him for his comments regarding black women. It should be the brothers collectively standing up saying, no, brother, you will not do this in our community. You will not degrade our sisters. We will shut your YouTube page down. If we had to report your videos every day on YouTube to shut your channel down, then that's what we will do.
Well, we are definitely, when I say us, I'm saying the quote unquote community, quote unquote conscious community is definitely promoting him, calling him brother. Look, dude, I can't even call you brother. I'm sorry. You lose that part. He loses that part. Definitely. And I'm not definitely like so emotional when it comes to Tommy, but when I saw that video of how he treated that woman,
my goodness,
I was like, it's real.
Yeah, I was
like at first I was like, it's a joke, right? He's a joke. Okay. All right. He if you listen to him, I'm going to be honest. If you listen to him, some of the stuff he says makes sense between all the foolishness. So that's how he captures you. That's how he gets you with those statistics, those facts. But it doesn't really. I mean, he doesn't.
But don't use statistics and fact in the same sentence, Minister Saw, because we got to understand what a statistic is. It's a likelihood, it's a probability.
Absolutely.
So when someone gives a statistics, we have to understand that they go out and they survey a population.
Right.
So they may survey a population of 1,000 people. In mathematics, we call that the sample size or the sample population. Right. So they go out, they sample the population, and then they use a mathematical formula to make some inferences on about that population. Okay. Right. And so then they'll take a formula and they'll say, well, 20% or 30%, and this is what I found, and they'll present that as factual, right?
Right.
But we have to understand that when you go out here and you take, you compute these statistics, these statistics are based on a sample population.
Absolutely.
So we cannot act like a statistic is reflective of the world or everyone in the United States.
Absolutely.
It's just a population.
Right.
So you can't put all of your trust in statistics. You understand what I mean? So when people give me statistics, I hear you.
Right.
I listen to the numbers, but then I ask you, well, what was your sample size? Was it 1,000? Was it 100? Was it 1 million? Right. Was it 2 million? Because remember, the bigger your sample size, the more likely, the more valid your conclusions are, the larger your sample size is. But a lot of these people quote statistics, but you're not even looking at, okay, well, the statistics that you're running or you're spitting or spewing, what was the sample size? Was it 100 people that you polled? Was it 200? Was it 2,000? So I never base my trust in statistics. Go ahead, Minister.
And even more so to say that, what was your sample population? You know, who did you sample? You got
right. What was the demographic?
Right.
Exactly.
So again, I said samples and facts. So some of the things he may say are facts, but facts can be misused.
Right.
And samples, you know, again, I mean, statistics are statistics.
Right.
They say statistics. They said there's 3 lies. Somebody famous said there's 3 things. There's 3 lies. There's lies, damn lies, and there's statistics. So I'm with you. I'm with you. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
So I definitely agree. Now the thing about Tommy though, that people are. Look, most people don't read, most people don't study, most people don't know what a statistic is. Even when I started the show off today, I said, it supports, it's not proven, it supports. So, but when I look at Tommy and the people that are responding to him respond in even more ignorance, I don't mean no harm. Tariq doesn't make it any better. So man. Because Tariq Nasheed, I was, brother, the Hidden Colors 4, I really liked it. But what I'm saying is because I
didn't get an opportunity
and I've been kind of beaten up on all the. I mean, I like the first. I think the first 3 was okay. I think that it wasn't necessarily all factual and all that thing. But
not at all.
Part 4, I think it was a very. I liked it just because it was a pretty good documentary. I didn't fact check anything like that, but nonetheless, you can't. I mean, like, you don't have to go as low as the person that you're trying to go at. I think we have to handle him with a different approach. I'm sorry, a nigga and a nigga don't really, it don't make anything better. You know what I'm saying? I know you say in your mathematical mind 2 negatives make a positive, but not in this case.
Say not in this case.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I got you.
So he goes on to says his views on YouTube are not like they used to be, but he has spawned a bunch of other black men with the same views about black women. How do we counter his ideas? Did you already answer that question?
I felt like we kind of touched on that. Did we?
Well, we didn't specifically go at it, but it may have been answered in the questioning. But would you like to say anything on that?
Okay, so can you repeat that to me?
So he said that.
Now this is still the brother James.
This is James McIver. He says that his views on YouTube are not like they used to be, but he has spawned a bunch of other black men with the same views about black women. How do we counter his ideas?
We counter his ideas by continuing to teach and to educate. That's how we counter our ideas. Continue to do lectures, continue to do YouTube videos, continue to talk to brothers and sisters in your community. That's how you counter your ideas. Because we got to think he's just a YouTube. And I'm not minimizing people who are on YouTube. I mean, you got a lot of great black media personalities on YouTube. So I'm not trying to minimize, he's just a YouTube person. But we have to counter his ideas by continuing to teach and educate our people. That's what we have to do. Continue. And I mean, that would be my answer. Continue to teach and continue to educate. And to censor him, we need to censor somebody like Tommy. Get him out of here.
So let me ask you this. All right. So with the debate coming up, right? When is it? August or something? Okay. Yes. Do you think,
are they still having it? I wasn't sure.
I think someone told me it was happening.
Yeah.
Also, they are still having it.
Well, from what I saw about a day or so ago, it's still being promoted. I saw it on YouTube now.
Because I know Sinetta actually addressed that video on Black News 102. Like, he went off, called Tommy all kinds of coons.
Really?
Like, it was bad. And then someone called Tommy and told him about it. And then he ended up calling Polite, crying about it. And, but Sinetta actually went in on him. So after that, I didn't know if it was still on.
Maybe it was
the
old.
thing,
not,
the
but
thing,
you never know.
The thing, I just be honest with you. I can't tell what's real on Sinetta TV or was illusion. I mean, I'm not, because they actually say, like, sometimes we do things to promote even more. So I can't tell if that's a publicity thing or whatever. I'm pretty sure Sinetta didn't like it because I know his stance on women, and black women especially. But sometimes things are good media.
Do you think that video was intentional? Because I kind of felt like it was.
I was like,
because why would you film yourself cursing out a black woman and then upload it?
It's always intentional. So these are media experts.
Yeah.
You understand? They know how to get thousands and hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah, because that video went viral.
It was horrible, though. It was horrible. I think it was because I don't even watch him. But he came back with I saw that on Facebook, and then he came back with a video say, "I apologize to the woman or the black woman." Then he came back at worse. You see what I'm saying? So he's a marketing expert. You see what I'm saying? So he.
But again, remember we were talking about the dual sex system, and I was saying that the brothers need to censure Tommy Soto. I call him Mayor. You say Meyer, but Tommy Soto Mayor. There cannot be a debate if no one shows up.
But I'm saying, so let me finish my question.
Okay.
So the question is this: do you think that Sinetta, by setting this debate up, right? This is not a question against Sinetta, so don't worry about it. So by setting this debate up and Polite taking it, could be the way that they think is best to handle this in front of the media. So if Polite spank his butt so bad, now this happens. I mean, he got Polite too that day, but I'm just wondering if Polite spanks his butt, do you think that could be a way of selling this thing? I mean, because this is another way to look at the reason to have a debate.
I feel like if Polite spanks him, Tommy Sotomayor or Meyer is going to continue to make his videos and continue. I don't think that it would end anything. I don't think it would solve anything. I think it would let the world know Polite's position on the black woman. It would let the world know Sai's position on the black woman.
Right.
But I think Tommy Sotomayor will continue to make his videos and continue to do his thing. And I think it's also kind of making him a little bit more popular because there are people, I'm sure, that tune into House of Consciousness and Sign That a TV and Black News 102 who may not have heard of him.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of also giving him a little spotlight, a little shine.
But at the same time, likewise, his audience is really large.
Yeah, he does have a wide audience.
So understand there's always, something for return.
Sure.
So now they'll also be picking up audience. Believe me, Sinetta already knows that.
Yeah, they will be. So I don't know what the debate would solve. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it would solve anything. I think that Polite would continue to do Polite and Tommy would continue to do Tommy. I don't think that getting up there debating, I think, what is the name of the debate? The black woman on trial, is it her fault, his fault, or our fault, or something like that? I don't know. I don't know what the name of the debate is, but something to that effect. So getting up there, watching Tommy denigrate and degrade black women for an hour, and then listening to Brother Polite talk about the gas station period of the black woman and why she's God. I just don't understand how that is, how that was solved. You know what?
That is funny.
You know what?
The gestation period.
The gestation period, on birth. And the black woman having the ability to transform, control.
I think let me be honest with you. I don't think Polite is going to say that again. Okay. I think Polite just is not man enough to really say, man, I was saying some stupid stuff. He hasn't responded to your stuff. He hasn't. No. So I mean, like he's almost wishing he didn't say that. Almost like he's wishing he never said sovereignty. It could do this for you and act like he didn't say it again. So what I'm saying is he's almost wishing he never said anything about the Boston gland. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he just don't want to say that what I said was foolish. What I said was out of some books I read. It was out of the Nawapian camp, whatever it came from, It
came from the Black Book.
The Black Book, right? He doesn't. Maybe he'll say it. Maybe one day he'll say, "Look, I have grown." I mean, we all said some stupid stuff.
True. We all.
I mean, I was looking at melanin and saying all this stuff. Then you have to really look at. We say some real pseudo stuff. Really, we have all went there and just read the book, but never questioned, because we were saying, because actually some people say, look, you didn't ever question the white man. Why you gonna come here and question us?
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? So there's lots of thoughts in this community. But nonetheless, this sister in the chat board says that Shayla, I think her name is, she says, thoughts. Should a man teach his son to be a man if he's abusive to the mother or child?
Oh my goodness, sister. First of all, We're not talking about a man if he's abusing.
Teach on the system.
Yeah, if we're talking about a person, first of all, if he's not even considered a man, I would call him a male, because a man wouldn't abuse
Right.
his child's mother or his children. Okay, and on Facebook, I actually just did a post, Minister Asar, on what is a man and what is a male. When we think of a male is the holder or keeper of gametes, right? Gametes that are gametes. And when I mean by gametes, I'm talking about sex cells, sperm, that's able to fertilize the gametes of a female. So that's a male. When you think of a man, you think of a gender. And when I say gender, I'm not talking about biological sex. I'm simply talking about the social construct of what a gender is. Okay. So when we think of gender, some people think you're talking about biological sex, but gender is also defined as a societal construct, right, of characteristics that are affixed to males. Okay. So males have to be trained to be men. Okay. You get what I'm saying, brother? So males have to train to be men. So with this sister, if it's her, what she's dealing with is not a man. She's dealing with a male. And so that male will only teach that little boy, he will teach him how to be a male and not a man. Do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Dr. Naeem Akbar has a book called Visions for Black Men. He speaks about a male exactly like you spoke of it. But then he goes to another stage where he called boy. And this guy may be a male or he might be a boy.
That's right.
And a boy has toys. You understand? He may can pay a few bills where, he can wait to use the bathroom for a little moment. He may be able to wait to eat his food for a little moment. But at the end of the day,
and they have temper tantrums. It sounds like that brother has temper tantrums. You beating on the sister and the children. He's a boy.
He
He's
probably has a
male
car,
child, right?
You know what I'm saying?
He has temper tantrums. He can't control his temper.
But Dr. Naeem Akbar goes on to say a man is one who is for his family and community. And you beating on your own family, you can't even make it to the community because you ain't even making the family.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you, sister.
Exactly.
Definitely. I appreciate it. Definitely some.
I hope we answered the sister's questions.
Look, he's a boy. But no, let's put it up there. Dr. Mike, I'm saying no. What you saying?
I'm saying no.
Okay. Saying, look, sometimes you got to give them the whole long answer. Then you give them the real quick answer. Hell no. But you know what I'm saying? Give me a call. 443-333-2970. If you really want to talk about that sister anymore, definitely.
What, any other questions?
On the chat board, no, but let's we probably at 48.
Can we still talk? Can we get into the effeminization of the black man and the masculization of the black female?
Only for you. Go ahead.
Only for me. Okay. So the feminization of the black man, and the reason why I wanted to speak on this, brother Asar and brother Sankofa, I picked my child up. His name is Jalen. He's 6. I picked him up from school a few weeks ago. No, a few months back. One day I picked him up and I saw a brother in a skirt.
Whoa.
I mean, this was a brother. He had on a red shirt. He had on a black skirt, and he had tattoo eye drops, or what was it called? Tattoo teardrops. I'm sorry, teardrops under his eyes, and he was in a skirt. And I said, "Wow!" My mind automatically went back to Jaden Pinkett Smith, and how he modeled a skirt for Louis Vuitton. They paid him $10 million to model a skirt, and they said he's been wearing skirts for quite some time. They said he's taken several girls to the prom in skirts, and I actually Googled this. He took several girls to the prom in skirts, and he modeled for Louis Vuitton in a skirt. And now I'm starting to see a wave of men, wearing skirts. And then this is nothing new. When you think of some of the celebrities, like Barton Lawrence, he's worn a skirt in Big Mama's House. You look at the Nutty Professor. Eddie Murphy played, women, and he wore skirts. Who else? There was
Martin and Shanae. They,
wore skirts. Who else, little buddy? Oh, Tyler Perry with Medea. He wears skirts. So you're starting to see this phenomenon of men wearing skirts, and it was kind of funny to me
Oh.
I remember Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She said this years ago that in the 1970s, there was a psychiatrist who said, I don't know if it was the 70s or was it the 80s? But years ago, she was saying that a psychiatrist made the prediction that one day Black men would take off their pants and put on skirts. And she said, so when you look at these brothers who are walking around with their pants below the buttocks, she said that that was a subliminal invitation for homosexuality. And then she said, one day they're going to take off the pants and put on skirts. And she's gone. She just made her transition on, I think, January the 4th of this year. But Brother Sankofa, she was right and exact. She said that one day, and she said that this particular psychiatrist, everyone thought he was crazy. And then she started saying that one day, if they're wearing their pants off their butt, she said the next step is going to be to just take off the pants and put on a skirt. And that's what you see. Right. You actually see brothers wearing skirts. I've seen it, you know, so I didn't just watch it or Google it, you know, on the internet or television. I actually saw it with my own eyes when I was picking my 6-year-old up from kindergarten. I saw a guy coming to pick his child up. He had on a red shirt, tattoo, what is it? Tattoo teardrops with a red shirt on and a black skirt.
So was this a kilt? Was it like a, what is it called? A kilt?
No, this was a skirt. This was a skirt.
I mean, he was a gangster with a skirt on.
Yeah, he was a gangster with a skirt on. He was a gangster, It wasn't a, it was
he had teardrops.
Yeah, with the teardrops. And then he had like the cornrows. They were kind of going to the side, the gangster cornrows.
He's androgynous. No, I'm messing with you.
But I mean, it's so real. I mean, the effeminization of the, and then I actually hear a lot of sisters, you know, making remarks when they get with brothers. Brother Knowledge Born Allah text me and he said it was Dr. Nellie Fuller Jr. who, thank you, Brother Knowledge, who actually made the statement that one day Black men will be in skirts. So he said that that statement was made by Dr. Nellie Fuller Jr. Thank you so much, Knowledge Born Allah, for that. But yes, and that's what's actually going on now. You see brothers wearing skirts and brothers acting like women. I mean, literally acting like women. And then you see the sisters on the flip side acting, I guess because the man is out of the home, you know, she's trying to do both roles and she's trying to be aggressive, you know, for the children. So now you just see this wave of sisters. I've seen some sisters now that look, you know, little more manly than you, Brother Sanko. I mean, I've seen them. I've seen them, you know, I've seen it, and I've seen this phenomenon. So the emasculation of the Black woman and the feminization of the Black man is real. You see it in your community.
Absolutely. And it's definitely a cycle. You know, because, you know, I hate to say it, Dr. Maat, but for the brother who is confused, to the sister who's confused, even to the brother who may be abusing his children, you know, we don't know what they have been through. They might have been abused. They might have been touched, or, you know, and that's so true. This stuff is a cycle, and this stuff also goes on in the family.
Yes, it does.
So, you know, it's a continuous cycle, and we have to definitely end this cycle. And man, I'm hating that we approaching close to the end of the show, because I mean, it's just so much to speak to, so much to talk about. What I'm curious to hear you speak about as we progress towards the end of the show is this healing process. What does that look like in terms of being able to restore strong African families the way they should? And I know we spoke about a number of different, bullet points under the umbrella of the family, but what does that healing process look like?
What is the healing process? I say that the healing process is actually eradicating ourselves from foreign culture and reinstituting our own. It wasn't until I came into this knowledge, and remember when I shared with you guys my personal experience, I talked about the fact that I grew up without a father. Not when I say without, I'm not acting as if I didn't know him. He just wasn't consistent. you know, in my life, and he wasn't responsible. So I'm not going to act like I just never knew him and never, you know, I just never saw this guy.
Sure.
But, you know, he just wasn't consistent, you know, in raising me. But when I came, and so I grew up, you know, as in my teenage years and in my early adult years as a woman that didn't understand the need of a man. You know, I didn't need him. I didn't need him. I hardly liked him, you know, and if I would lay my male friends out. I mean, my temper, my tolerance for males was almost 0 to none. But it wasn't until that I came into this knowledge that I understand the importance of having that male presence, you know. And so the solution, you said, what does healing look like? We need to rid ourselves. And I mean, this is so true. I mean, racism, white supremacy has done a number on our minds. You know, it's done a number on our minds. We really need to rid ourselves of foreign culture, Arabic culture, European culture, and get back to our African culture, get back to ourselves. And that means educating yourself first on what African culture is. And we got to remember that there's a plurality of cultures in Africa. Study them. Study what took place in West Africa, you know, East Africa, you know, Central and South Africa, and take from it what you may, but understand who you are. Shenkandi Diop tells us in Civilization or Barbarism is that the elimination of our historical consciousness was the greatest weapon of colonization, enslavement, and debasement. So we had to get back to self, knowing self. And to get back to knowing self is to educate ourselves, educate our children on who we are. Right. And to me, that is the first step in healing the Black family. You know, first of all, recognizing that there's an issue. And then secondly, you know, educating ourselves.
Beautiful, beautiful answer, sister.
Absolutely.
I mean, you said it so you know, so eloquently. You said eradicating all your I can't repeat exactly what you said, but I was like, wow, that's a good answer. Culture, you know, our culture is very important. You keep tapping back into the, you know, our culture is very important. My father taught me something. He said through his journeys, Sister Dr. Maat, is that it's about knowing thyself, and that's truly what heals you. And as you said, the starting point, and I think is also the point to continue. You know, knowing yourself is knowing your culture, is knowing your history, is knowing about your people, but there's other levels and deeper levels to that, to knowing truly yourself. Absolutely. And just to add on to what the sister so phenomenally said is, you know, we have to, Brother Sankofa, is tap into our own self, tap into, you know, mastering ourselves like our ancestors did. You know what I mean? Sure. So Sister Dr. Maat is truly on point with that one. And, you know, so I do want to say, Dr. Maat, I really appreciate you coming on the show. And I'll be remiss if I don't let the family know that this Sunday, we're going to have the second part of the lecture she did in Oakland, California, coming up Sunday. We're going to have a special show, family. So tune in. We're going to have Sister Zaza Ali, not in the studio. We got Sister Dr. Maat with us in the studio because, you know, we in Bmore City, you know what I'm saying? So that's a beautiful thing. We actually, you know, we're going to have to do something with Dr. Maat. She'll have to come to the temple. I see she be putting her pictures of her mom up there blessing the podium. We're gonna have to you know, we're gonna have to bring her up in the African temple, you know what I'm saying? Let Dr. Maat do some of the, you know, some of that blessing, you know, as she has blessed us today. I mean, I'm you know, every time I listen to the sister, I have a deeper and deeper respect for her level of let's say intellectual prowessness, but more than that, just the energy and the connection that she brings and the spirit that she brings, because I can truly tell that her spirit is correct. And if her spirit wasn't correct, she would go along just to get along with, you know, just the regular old mundane. And she's challenging some things and shaking some things up, and I appreciate that. And I thank her for doing that, Brother Sankofa.
I'm with you 100%, man. As I saw that show that you spoke about, to all those tuning in, that's going to be at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time as well, coming up on Sunday the 31st. But Dr. Maat, glad to have you back. I'm sure that it's not going to be the last time.
Oh no,
at all whatsoever.
Not at all. Not at all.
And so, we're going to have some fun at our open house coming up on Sunday, August the 7th. I know you're going to have some of your material, right? Your
yes,
product,
Meltrek.
You got some new kicks, some new sneakers for the
Yes,
people.
we got some sneakers. My son Harvey designed the Meltrek sneakers. We actually got our sample back from China a few weeks ago. And we're going to do a bulk shipment probably sometime next spring. So we definitely will have the Meltrek sneakers in store.
That's what's up.
Next spring. My son Isaiah is half the way finished the Meltrek storybook for Meltrek episode 1. And he's also working on a storybook for Meltrek episode 2, which will be available on Amazon.com. So we have a lot of stuff coming up. We're currently working on Meltrek episode 2, and we're going to dispel, this episode is going to dispel the notion that the first time Africans traveled the sea was during the transatlantic slave trade. So we're going to talk about the pyramid, the papyrus ship and the pyramid of Khufu. We're going to talk about Abu Bakr, the king of Mali who traveled the seas in the 1300s. And we're going to talk about the fact that that there was an African presence here in the Americas prior to Columbus. In fact, the Columbus diary, he said that one of his admirals was an African. Well, why did he choose an admiral that was an African? Because it was obvious that the Africans had been over here. So we're going to dispel that misconception that Africans, that the first time we came to this land was during the transatlantic slave trade. Now, am I saying that we are the Olmecs, the Mayans, the Aztecs, and the Incas? No. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am going to say is that there was undoubtedly an African presence here in the Americas prior to Columbus. And we're going to present that evidence in Meltrek episode 2. We're also going to discuss the out of Africa theory to show how those people migrated here to the Americas. So I'm looking forward to Meltrek episode 2. It should be available by the fall. The Meltrek trailer will be released on August the 20th. You can check out our Facebook page, @Anime Productions, or go to @animeproductions.com to view the trailer. Before we close, I would like to also say that if you are homeschooling your child, please visit edanimeproductions.com. That's EDANIME Productions with an S.com to download unit plans. We actually have unit plans available, and they're free for you to download for your children. Ashe. So if you, for all of the homeschoolers or parents who just want to teach their children African culture, please go to that website and download the Meltrek unit plans.
And I would say, even if you don't homeschool your children, I'm sure it definitely could be something that could be used, for, just in general.
Yeah, just to teach. Children. Yeah, just to teach them.
Absolutely. So it's a beautiful work that not only you're doing, sister, but that the family is doing. And we're glad to have you on the show yet once again. And we're looking forward to some great things to come into fruition in the future. So back to you, Minister Asar.
Family. Powerful show. Dr. Oya Maya came into place and warmed it up. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
She got us going. She got the chat board. People still hitting us up on the chat board saying, they got all types of questions. You know what I'm saying? We would never get the show done with the questions they got going on. You know what I'm saying? But definitely a part 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Into perpetuity. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
right.
Let's make that happen. So family, I'm going to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you again, Dr. Mayat, for coming here and blessing us. You understand? Look, Dr. Maya is one brother saying, Kofi, that you can get a mic and don't have to worry about. Me, I'm a little leery of who I get a mic to. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm serious. You don't have to worry about her when she get on the mic. You know what I'm saying? I might have to worry about myself, the energy that she gives me, though. You know what I'm saying? I had to calm it down, you dig? But nonetheless, family, Dr. Franz Fanon says, family, I got to close out with the show with Dr. Mayat show with Dr. Franz Fanon, because he says that sometimes people hold a core belief that is very strong. When they are presented with evidence that works against that belief, the new evidence cannot be accepted. It would create a feeling that is extremely uncomfortable, called cognitive dissonance. And because it is so important to protect the core belief, they will rationalize, ignore, and even deny anything that doesn't fit in with the core belief.
Ashe.
With that being said, family, just chiming on that, tuning in, vibe with that. And I'm going to say Amani Nine Guvu, which means peace and power.
It's the business of life, the business of love, the business of health, the business of wealth. It's the business of principle, the business of media, the business of conscious, the black business, the business of life, the business of love, the business of health, the business of wealth. It's the business of principle, the business of media, the business of conscious, the business of business network. It's the Conscious Black Business Network, the radio show brought to you by a radio flow. Call, chat, listen, and learn. Today you will know. Today we resume to stay tuned to CBBN at 9 p.m. Minister Assault, Brother Sankofa, giving what you demand most of. Propaganda that's proper. Network and let's work together to live free and prosper. The business of love.